Shalom. In our new walk with the Creator, what's our new jobs? What's our new responsibilities? We have so many legitimate divine titles: disciples of Moses, disciples of Yeshua, sons of God, daughters of God, servants, grafted in Israel, messianics, or Hebrew roots. But we have to come to truth with ourselves. We have to openly admit, after waking up to some truth and leaving our religion and our personal ways and starting our new walk with the Creator, we're just trying to do our best by obeying the Torah and Yeshua the best we can with the information we have. But at the end of the day, we still don't know our primary divine title, so we actually know our biblical job. So in our new walk with the Creator, we will know our primary divine title, so we will know what to do. Now that we know our primary divine title as Aaron priest and King David of all tribes of Israel, we can now start our primary biblical job. Exodus 19:5-6 and Revelation 1:5-6 are our two witnesses for truth to know our primary divine title. In this study, we're going to go through the Torah and understand the high level of authority, the responsibility, and the commandments of a Levite priest and tribe. Also, we're going to understand the high level of authority, the responsibility, and the commandments of a king of Israel. Now we're going to go over the authority and the responsibility of a king of Israel in the Torah. The king of Israel was to serve as Yehovah's agents to rule Israel. They were expected to observe his covenant and laws to rule all tribes in truth and justice in the Torah way, and to defend the nation and engage in offensive war when deemed necessary. Although they were granted wide powers to carry out these tasks, if the king violated the Creator's covenant, the king will suffer more divine punishment than the high priest, the Levites, and all citizens of Israel. The Creator will send prophets to announce judgments against awkward kings when the court officials and the Levites fail to act, just like the Creator sent Nathan to David. Deuteronomy 17, Moses gives us the qualifications of a king and queen of Israel. First, the kingdom requires men with a lower pair and women with an upper pair, brave soldiers, a person with guts. The kingdom rejects a person that is scared or a coward. If you're scared of talking against man-made religions, false religion leaders, corrupted governments, and corrupted government officials, you're not qualified to be a king or queen of Israel, because that is called blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, because the Creator will fight for you. The Torah also teaches us that before we go out to war, if anyone's afraid or worried, you may go home before you frighten anyone else. The Torah also reminds us of what the Creator does to those that are scared. I don't think any of us could take a 40-year punishment because our cowardness showed lack in faith of the Creator, and that will be disturbing to him.
Chapter 17. You will soon arrive in the land the Lord your God is giving you, and you will conquer it and settle there. Then you may begin to think, we ought to have a king like the other nations around us. If this happens, be sure that you select as king the man the Lord your God chooses. You must appoint a fellow Israelite, not a foreigner. The king must not build up a large stable of horses for himself, and he must never send his people to Egypt to buy horses there, for the Lord has told you, you must never return to Egypt. The king must not take many wives for himself, because they will lead him away from the Lord. And he must not accumulate vast amounts of wealth in silver and gold for himself. When he sits on the throne as king, he must copy these laws on a scroll for himself in the presence of the Levitical priests. He must always keep this copy of the law with him and read it daily as long as he lives. That way he will learn to fear the Lord his God by obeying all the terms of this law. This regular reading will prevent him from becoming proud and acting as if he is above his fellow citizens. It will also prevent him from turning away from these commands in the smallest way. This will ensure that he and his descendants will reign for many generations in Israel.
Now you know that you have been anointed king of Israel through Yeshua's blood, and you now sit on your throne. Your first commandment is to have a handwritten copy of the Torah in the presence of the priest, and humble yourself as a slave and work for the Creator as a servant for the next 6 years. Within those 6 years, train your mind like a Levitical priest to diligently understand the Creator's blood covenant, commandments, statutes, judgments, his calendar, and his personal name, and get to know his criminal justice system, which is mandatory. Remember, you have a whole book dedicated to you, Leviticus, and you'll have the Holy Spirit to give you understanding of all scriptures. And on your 7th year, your year of release, you'll be trained by God to get the Gospels of Moses all the way to the Gospels of Yeshua to the world, so you can lead Israel by the Creator's ways as a faithful king, separating us from the pagan nations and guiding God's people to his Torah and Messiah, and righteous living in the Torah way, as a good shepherd leads his sheep. The Creator holds his priests to the most highest standard of behavior and obedience to the Torah. Remember, if an Israelite sins against the Creator or their neighbor, God will punish that Israelite for that sin. However, if a priest and king sins against the Creator or the neighbor, the priest will suffer a greater punishment than the average Israelite.